A man sits beneath a tree, eyes closed, breathing softly. A woman lights a candle in silence. A child watches a leaf fall from a branch and land gently on the ground. Are these people Buddhist? Perhaps, perhaps not. Because being Buddhist is not about the posture you hold or the prayer you recite. It is not about wearing robes or bowing to statues. It is about something quieter, something truer, something that lives beneath the surface of all ritual and all religion. It is about waking up to life as it truly is, not as we wish it to be. Today, we will explore what it truly means to be a Buddhist, not the religion, not the tradition, but the spirit, the way of seeing, the way of being. And perhaps, by the end of this journey, you will realize that the essence of Buddhism has less to do with belief and more to do with awareness, less to do with becoming something new and more to do with remembering what you already are. Let us begin where all wisdom begins, with a simple question. What does it mean to be Buddhist? Most people think it means following certain rules, going to temples, meditating for hours, reading ancient texts. And yes, these things are part of the tradition, but they are not the heart. The heart is something else entirely. The heart is this: to be Buddhist is to live awake, to see clearly, to respond with compassion, to let go of what causes suffering, and to understand that everything changes, including you. The Buddha himself never asked anyone to worship him. He never claimed to be a god. He simply said, "I have found a way out of suffering. If you want to walk it, walk it. If you want to test it, test it. Do not believe me because I say so. Believe only what you experience for yourself." This is radical. This is not religion as we know it. This is an invitation to look deeply into your own life and see what is true. So what did the Buddha see? He saw that life contains suffering, not because life is cruel, but because we cling. We cling to pleasure and push away pain. We cling to people, to outcomes, to ideas of how things should be. And when life does not match our expectations, we suffer. He saw that this clinging comes from ignorance. We do not see things as they are. We see them through the filter of our desires and our fears. And he saw that there is a way to end this cycle, not by escaping life, but by understanding it. This understanding is not intellectual. It is experiential. It is felt. It is lived. To be Buddhist is not to memorize teachings. It is to embody them. It is to practice them in the kitchen, in the car, in the argument with your partner, in the moment you spill your coffee. It is to bring awareness into the smallest, most mundane corners of your life, because that is where suffering happens, and that is where freedom is found. Let me tell you a story. There was once a student who traveled many miles to study with a famous teacher. He arrived at the monastery, tired and eager. He bowed deeply and said, "Master, I have come to learn the way of the Buddha." The teacher looked at him and said, "Have you eaten your rice?" The student, confused, nodded. "Then go wash your bowl," the teacher said, and he turned away. The student stood there, bewildered. He had traveled so far, he had so many questions, and all the teacher said was, "Go wash your bowl." It took the student years to understand, but eventually he did. The teaching was not in some distant philosophy. It was right there, in the bowl, in the washing, in the act of being present with what is. To be Buddhist is to wash your bowl with full attention, to walk with awareness, to listen without planning your reply, to see the sky and actually see it, not just glance and move on. It is to live each moment as if it matters, because it does. This is not easy. Our minds are trained to wander, trained to worry, trained to plan and replay and judge. We live most of our lives on autopilot, barely present for our own experience. Buddhism asks us to wake up, to notice, to return again and again to this moment, this breath, this step, not because this moment is perfect, but because it is real. And reality is the only place where peace can be found. One of the central teachings of Buddhism is impermanence. Everything changes. Your body changes. Your thoughts change. Your relationships change. The weather changes. The world changes. Nothing stays the same. This can feel frightening. We want things to last. We want security. We want guarantees. But life does not offer them. And when we resist this truth, we suffer. When we accept it, something softens. We stop gripping so tightly. We start to flow with life instead of against it. To be Buddhist is to make friends with change. To see it not as an enemy, but as the very nature of existence. The flower blooms, and then it wilts. This is not a tragedy. This is beauty. The child grows and leaves home. This is not loss. This is life. When we understand impermanence, we stop demanding that things stay the same. We start to appreciate them while they are here. We start to live with open hands instead of clenched fists. Another cornerstone of Buddhist practice is compassion. But compassion in Buddhism is not just kindness. It is not just being nice. It is the deep recognition that all beings suffer, that everyone you meet is carrying something heavy, that the person who cut you off in traffic is struggling, that the coworker who snapped at you is in pain. Compassion is the ability to see past behavior and into the heart, to respond not with anger, but with understanding, not with judgment, but with care. And this includes yourself. So many of us are harsh with ourselves. We criticize, we demand, we push. Buddhism teaches self-compassion, to treat yourself with the same gentleness you would offer a hurt child, to forgive yourself for being human, to understand that you are doing your best with what you know. This is not self-indulgence, this is wisdom, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot offer true compassion to others if you are at war with yourself. Take a slow breath now. Feel your chest rise and fall. Notice the air moving in and out. This is the practice. This is the path. Not somewhere far away, not in some monastery in the mountains. Right here, right now, in your own body, in your own breath. To be Buddhist is also to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply paying attention. It is noticing what is happening without adding layers of judgment or story. When you are angry, mindfulness says, this is anger. It does not say, I am a bad person for feeling this. It does not say, this should not be happening. It simply observes. And in that observation, there is space. Space between the feeling and the reaction. Space where choice lives. Most of us react automatically. Someone criticizes us, and we defend. Someone praises us, and we crave more. Someone ignores us, and we feel hurt. We are puppets to our conditioning. Mindfulness cuts the strings. It allows us to see our patterns, to pause, to choose a different response. This is freedom. Not the freedom to never feel difficult emotions, but the freedom to not be controlled by them. The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths: the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth that suffering can end, and the truth of the path. They are observations, maps, tools. To be Buddhist is to use these tools, to investigate your own suffering, to ask, where am I clinging? Where am I resisting? What story am I telling myself? And then to gently, gradually, let go. Letting go does not mean not caring. It does not mean becoming cold or detached. It means releasing the tight grip of control. It means accepting that you cannot force life to be what you want. It means trusting the process. It means understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is allow people to make their own choices. Allow situations to unfold. Allow yourself to feel what you feel without needing to fix it immediately. There is a famous Zen story about two monks walking in the rain. They come to a muddy crossroad where a woman in fine robes stands, unable to cross without ruining her clothes. One monk, without hesitation, picks her up and carries her across. The other monk says nothing, but he is clearly disturbed. Hours later, he finally speaks. We are not supposed to touch women. Why did you do that? The first monk smiles gently and says, I put her down hours ago. Are you still carrying her? This is the teaching. We carry so much old hurts, old stories, old rules that no longer serve us. To be Buddhist is to practice putting things down, to examine what you are carrying and ask, does this still belong to me? Does this still help? And if not, to let it go. Not with force, but with tenderness. like releasing a bird back into the sky. Buddhism also teaches the concept of no self. This is perhaps the most misunderstood teaching. It does not mean you do not exist. It means the self you think you are is not as solid as you believe. You are not one fixed thing. You are a process, a flowing river, a collection of thoughts, feelings, sensations, memories, constantly shifting. The you of 10 years ago is not the you of today. The you of this morning is not the you of this evening. When we cling to a fixed identity, we suffer. When we allow ourselves to be fluid, we experience freedom. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I am not the kind of person who does that"? How many times have you boxed yourself in with labels? I am shy. I am angry. I am broken. These are not facts. These are stories, and stories can change. To be Buddhist is to hold your identity lightly, to be willing to grow, to be willing to surprise yourself, to understand that you are not a noun, you are a verb, you are becoming, always. Let us return to the breath for a moment. Breathe in slowly, breathe out fully, feel the ground beneath you. This is your anchor, this is your home. No matter what storm is raging in your mind, you can always return here, to the body, to the breath, to the present moment. This is the practice, not once, not perfectly, but again and again, with patience and with love. To be Buddhist is not about perfection. It is about practice. It is about showing up, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. It is about sitting with discomfort without needing to run. It is about being honest with yourself. It is about falling down and getting back up. It is about forgiving yourself for being human. Over and over and over again. You do not need to be in a temple to practice this. You do not need a teacher, though a teacher can help. You do not need special clothes or special words. You need only willingness. Willingness to look, willingness to feel, willingness to be present. This is the path, and it is available to you, right now, wherever you are. Some people ask, can I be Buddhist if I believe in God? Can I be Buddhist if I am Christian, or Muslim, or Jewish? And the answer is yes, because Buddhism is not about belief. It is about practice. It is about awareness. It is about compassion. These are not exclusive to any tradition. They are universal. They belong to everyone. The Buddha did not invent kindness. He simply pointed to it. He said, "Look here. This is the way out of suffering, and that way is open to all." What it truly means to be Buddhist is to live with wisdom and with heart, to see clearly and to act kindly, to understand that you are connected to all beings, that your suffering and their suffering are not separate, that your peace and their peace are woven together. To be Buddhist is to care, to pay attention, to be present, to let go, to begin again, every single day. And perhaps most importantly, to be Buddhist is to trust the process, to trust that even in confusion there is clarity, even in pain there is growth, even in darkness there is light, not because someone told you so, but because you have seen it, you have felt it. This is earned trust, trust in life, trust in yourself, trust in the unfolding. So, as we come to the end of this reflection, I invite you to pause, to notice how you feel right now, not to change it, just to notice, to honor wherever you are, to understand that this moment, just as it is enough. You are enough. You have always been enough. To be Buddhist is not to become someone else. It is to remember who you are beneath all the noise, beneath all the fear, beneath all the striving. It is to come home to yourself, to rest in your own being, to know that you belong here, that you are part of this vast, interconnected web of life, and that your presence matters. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to be enlightened. You simply need to be willing. Willing to see, willing to feel, willing to show up. That is enough. That is everything. Take one more deep breath. Feel the peace that is always here, waiting. It does not come from outside. It comes from within, from the quiet place that knows, the place that has always known. You are already whole. You are already home. Today, may you walk gently with yourself. May you see clearly and love deeply. May you find peace in simply being.